Hello everybody and welcome to Sheepish Look at Graveyard Keeper. My name is MrWoodenSheep and today we are looking at a game where you get to manage your very own graveyard. I know it's exciting. So this is a game brought to us by the devs who made Punch Club, and the premise is basically you play as a character who had an accident, a fatal accident at the beginning of the game, and you find yourself in this mysterious world and you've been promised that you can maybe go back to your lover in the world that you know as long as you complete your shift as a graveyard keeper correctly and just kind of run the place. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. The gameplay I really do want to like, but there are a lot of glaring issues, and I'm aware that a lot of the people watching this probably will like some of the issues that I have, but there's also others that are things that should be fixed. Every few days a donkey will drop a body outside my graveyard, and you can bring it over here and do an autopsy. I should point out I am playing on the PC at the moment, but both controller and keyboard control schemes have problems in my opinion, so I can't really figure out which one I want to go between. I'll get into that a little bit more later, but at the moment I'm just going to play with the mouse because it's easier to show you. So basically I've got my body over here, and I can choose to extract different pieces of the body. I've researched these so I can actually extract a skull, for example, if I want to. I'm going to do that, and then I need to hold F to work. You can see it's draining my energy slowly. Energy is used for pretty much everything in this game. And I dropped a little green orb. I believe the green orb represents knowledge. So if you're doing hard labor like cutting down a tree, you'll also get red orbs, and you can use those to upgrade your tech tree. You can see over here, for example, I can learn how to extract important parts of the body. Or I can get the surgery perk, which basically means I make less surgical errors while I'm dissecting a body. Or I can go to theology, learn how to cremate, make crosses for my graveyards. I can learn to cook stuff. So for the most part, advancing through the technology tree feels pretty natural. I'm gonna come back to the body now, and you can see this is where it becomes a little bit more complex. Each body has a certain amount of sin and goodness within it. So you can see this body has 2 red sin skulls in it and then 2 white skulls. These are good. Different body parts contain these sin and these good will things within them. I'm not sure if later on you'll be able to figure out what holds what, but for example I'm going to try extract bone and let's see how it affects this. So I'm going to extract the bone from this body, and then you can see I actually produced 1 more sin in the body. So this is not a very good body to actually have in my graveyard, but I'm just going to put it in just for the sake of showing you guys how exactly this works. So I'm going to bring it on over here. Normally, a body of this kind of sinfulness, I would actually go to the left and dump it into the river. I'm not sure if that will have consequences later on or not. It might, because there is an option to cremate. But we're just going to bring it over here and bury it. So you can see in the top right corner, this is my overall quality of my graveyard. It's very bad at the moment, but that's because the game's progression is very slow, so it's going to take me time to actually make the graveyard acceptable. So I'm going to place another graveyard plot here. Walk over to this. My shovel is broken, actually, so I'm gonna need to go repair that. So this game is very much like, there's so many things in the way of doing everything. I want to dig a graveyard, okay, so I'm gonna need to repair my shovel. Oh, but I need a whetstone first. Let me go to the smith. Oh, the smith wants me to kill these slimes first, and oh, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't know. A lot of RPGs kind of do this kind of stuff, but for me in this game it feels a little bit tedious, and you'll probably see in a moment why. So I'm gonna repair this with my whetstone. I'm gonna work this. Cool. Got my shovel back. You can see I even gained some handiwork red orbs. By the way, the aesthetic, I should say, is very, very nice. It's I mean, you can kind of see for yourself. It's super crisp and just colorful, and it's very pleasant. The lighting effects in the night are very atmospheric, the way the shadows work and all. And then I'm gonna dump the body in, and you'll see my overall graveyard rating plummet. Whoops. Nope, don't want to kick that around. Cover it back up, and there you go. So now I've got -3 in my graveyard because of that. And you can actually improve that by fixing graveyards. This graveyard, for example here, I've actually repaired the wooden cross and the stone grave fence. And you can see these add wreaths. So I've got 4 wreaths over here. And these are the skulls that are from the body, the sinful and the goodwill stuff. And the only overall rating I get from this is 1 of these, because you can see they actually need to match up. So the ones in the red, the sinful skulls, actually cancel out all these wreaths that I have, and this is the first skull that actually has a wreath matched up to it. So in order to fix this, I would need to try and take out the body, maybe remove some parts that have this sinfulness in it, or put some mantles here that actually increase the wreath back up to this level. So there's a lot of detail when it comes to actually increasing the rating of your grave. And the purpose of that would be to, if I go to my known NPCs, you can see here, the bishop that I'm talking to wants me to reach 5 this at the graveyard, and he'll actually promote me, and that's how you kind of progress through the game. There's all sorts of different quests. You can see these are all the people I've met. This guy wants me to bring a skull from a dead body. The only problem with this guy is he only shows up on this day. You can see in the top left corner I've got my dial here. And this is another problem I have with the game. This isn't like a Bethesda game where you can kind of just press a button and wait wherever you want. You actually need to wait out all this time for him to actually show up, and I believe he only shows up at the nighttime at a specific place. So the only way to pass time in this game is to actually go and sleep in my bed. Unfortunately, you can't sleep forever because it'll only sleep until your energy bar is refilled completely. So this would probably get me only to the next day in the middle of the daytime. So you will find yourself a lot of the times just because there are a lot of NPCs that only show up on a certain day. You're gonna be kind of just trying to waste your time doing random stuff, and you can't spend that time, let's say, gardening, because I'm gonna do this. Oh, I need technology for this. Let's see. I'm gonna come over here. I'm just gonna wait for this guy to show up. So I'm just gonna dig out this little shrubbery stuff. But you see, it wastes my energy. So then I won't really be able to go talk to him because you're wasting your energy. So that means you need to sleep, but then you might sleep past the day that he's there, and it's such a mess. Honestly, I think the best way to fix this would just be adding a kind of like Elder Scrolls or Fallout Bethesda system where you can just click a button and wait in a certain place. But I will say, so far the character lineup has been very interesting. We've got a talking skull who is kind of a drunkard, but he has all the info you want, and he kind of fills you in. There's a lot of just funny kind of varied stuff, and you do have choices in the way you talk to people. One really interesting example was this merchant here. I wanted to purchase a plot of land from him so I could like garden stuff, and he offered me for only, I think, 10 coins. He was like, you can take the plot of land, but I didn't have coins, so I said I can't do that. Then he lowered the price to 5. I said I can't do that. So then he said, okay, fine, do me a favor and then you can get it instead. I said, I don't want to do a favor from you. And then he said, you know what, fine, you have to actually pay me 200 coins if you ever want to get the plot of land. And then I apologized for it, and he said, okay, fine, you can take it for 1 coin. So there's a lot of just kind of funny stuff like that. So I will say that I'm playing a build of the game which is only a few hours before release, so possibly a lot of these bugs and issues I have will be patched out after then. So if I want to come over here to the workbench, stonecutter. Oh, what does this do? Let me click information. Click on it, it just shows you the name of the items instead of what exactly the stonecutter does. Obviously this is a little bit more obvious, but like sawhorse. Some people might not know what exactly this stuff means. Another issue I have with the controller control scheme, for example. So if you're trying to figure out how to make a stonecutter, for example, I need this kind of plank of wood and these nails. You don't know how to make this plank of wood or nails unless you go out into the keyboard control scheme and then highlight it with a mouse. And then you can see flitch crafted at sawhorse circular saw, or nails crafted at cooking table. So that's a problem with the control scheme. And then with the keyboard and mouse is most of the times pretty easy, except when you talk to people. So normally the control scheme is you walk around with the arrows or WASD, you interact with stuff with E and F. But if you're talking to someone and you want to continue the dialogue, you need to take your hand off the keyboard and then pick up the mouse and left click to go down through the dialogue, instead of having a button on the keyboard which actually progresses through. So there's a lot of kind of just weird design issues. Not too big of a deal, but you know, it does get annoying. Anyway, I've built myself a circular saw. I'm going to create a flitch, which does take a lot of manual time to actually just sit down and hold F to do this. And this is another problem I have with the game. Obviously some people are okay with just kind of, they might find it a very relaxing experience to kind of sit and hold F for 5 seconds. But not only this, but the town that you're close to, this is where I am. It takes about maybe a 1-minute walk of real life time to actually walk over to the village and interact with all these people. And then maybe one of them you want to meet in the daytime, but by the time you walk to the village it's nighttime and then they've all gone to sleep. So either a fast travel or a waiting system would really be appreciated, honestly. Another issue, when you open up the map, it doesn't actually go to where you are, and there's no pinpoint of where exactly you are, so you kind of need to just figure out like an old school map, which is okay, I guess, but it can be a little bit tedious sometimes. Alright, so in order to create a wood repair kit, I want to make a carpenter's workbench. I finally have the resources for it. I can place it wherever I want. That's very nice. And I'm gonna build it. Then I come over to the wooden repair kit, and I don't have the resources to make anything. Everything is just very slow, and I would need to do all of this to get a wood repair kit, which will then allow me to repair some of the wooden pieces in the graveyard to improve the rating, but that will also be limited. It's a finite amount of times you can repair. I think it's 4 or 5. So then I'd need to go through that entire process and build another wooden repair kit. And obviously this speeds up a little bit as you progress through the game, even in all other games like this, like, you know, Minecraft even. The process will get faster, but still, it's a little bit tedious for me. But again, I understand that a lot of other people won't have that issue. A lot of people do like to just kind of relax and go through long processes like this. And I do too in other games, but for me it doesn't click in this game necessarily. So I've left my graveyard now. I'm gonna go over to the town and show you how long of a walk it actually is. Yeah, it takes about 30 seconds to go from here to there. And you're going to be doing it a lot. It really doesn't sound like much, 30 seconds, whatever, but it gets tedious. So you can see the quest. I do also wish that there was just a quest list as opposed to known NPCs, and then I need to scroll through, and then, oh, this one has a quest for me, this one has a quest, but then I come here and there's some spaces taken by people who don't have quests for me at the moment. So, yeah, I would like a normal quest list. Yeah, you can see the quests are very much, they're all very hard to get a hold of. So this is pretty much the only one that I've actually gotten at the moment. This person wants me to get firewood and flyers, wine up here, hiccup grass. You have no idea how to get some of these things. And in order to get to them, it takes a lot of just doing your daily routine over and over again. Getting a body, put it in the plot of land or whatever, come here. Once you actually put a body in the ground, you get a burial certificate, and you can give it to this innkeeper, who you can sell it for, and he'll actually give you some money. So then maybe with the money, you can go over and buy some lumber, which then with the lumber, you can create an axe, and then sell it to the person who wants an axe, and then, you know. So, it is typical. I mean, there are a lot of games that do this, but really for me, it goes overboard. But I think you've seen enough, so I'll probably end the video here. Again, I'm very aware that a lot of people will like this repetitive process of, you know, just creating everything by hand. I understand that, so I'm not necessarily saying it's a negative, it's just a complaint for me, and it's gonna stop me from probably finishing the game off. I'm not sure anyone will really enjoy the billion hours you'll spend traveling back and forth, and the annoying waiting for a specific day for someone to show up, and then being able to easily miss them. And the only way to avoid it is stand still and not play the game. But everything else I do like. It's a shame. You know, I do really like the world, the NPCs, the writing is funny, everything is interesting, but just for me it's a bit too tedious. But again, I'm sure other people will enjoy it. So in the end, I would recommend the game to anyone who's really hardcore into this and just wants to, because there's so much. Look at it, the technology tree is really huge, and there's a lot of different ways to kind of progress through everything. So I think people who really want to delve deep into a world like this and just get their hands dirty will really get something out of this game. And if you're one of those people and you want to pick up the game for yourself, there is a link in the description as always to buy it. If you thought the video was useful, please don't forget to like and share it, and maybe subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll see you next time.